Lebanon between the Israelis and the Hezbollah forces. As she spoke, the fighting grew even fiercer as the Israelis pushed deeper into Lebanon. Again tonight, our CBS News correspondents are deployed throughout the war zone, and our chief foreign correspondent, Lara Logan, is heading up our coverage from northern Israel, just south of the Lebanese border. Lara?
Good evening, Bob. Well, on a day of intense fighting in South Lebanon and mounting casualties on both sides, there was lots of talk about a ceasefire and no shortage of high-level diplomacy, but no real sign yet that anyone, least of all the U.S., is ready to end this conflict just yet. It was a surprise stop in the Lebanese capital for the Secretary of State, designed to show support for this country's embattled prime minister. Even more surprising was her meeting with well-known Hezbollah ally and Speaker of the Lebanese Parliament, Nabi Berri. Lebanese officials described the meetings as tense after Rice repeated the same conditions for a ceasefire as Israel. And by the time the secretary arrived in Israel on Monday night, there was still no hope for those seeking an immediate end to the fighting.
Any peace is going to have to be based on enduring principles and not on temporary solutions. We will talk about how to get to an enduring cessation of violence.
The increased diplomatic effort came as Israeli forces ramped up the pressure on the battlefield, moving even deeper into South Lebanon. What you can see from here is the outskirts of Hezbollah's stronghold in South Lebanon, the town of Bint Jbeil, where there's a heavy battle raging between Israeli forces and about several hundred Hezbollah fighters they believe are holed up inside the town, looking to lure the Israeli army inside so they can fight them house to house. Both sides seemingly prepared to pay a heavy price. Israeli casualties ran into double figures, but they claimed Hezbollah suffered dozens more. The wounded were brought from the battlefield in tanks, rushed back across the border to waiting ambulances. A frantic effort to save lives that took its toll on some. 2 more soldiers were confirmed dead and 2 pilots killed when this helicopter crashed. The Israeli army released this video that clearly shows them destroying a Hezbollah position after rockets are fired from Lebanon. But in spite of such apparent successes, hillsides across northern Israel burned today, ignited by nearly 100 Hezbollah missile strikes.
It takes time. If you have like 10 or 12,000 missiles that have been prepared for years and years in caves, tunnels, bunkers, it takes a lot of time to find each and every one of them.
But they're determined to keep trying. The Israeli army is preparing for even more incursions against Hezbollah targets inside South Lebanon, involving thousands more troops. And there's growing criticism from Israeli army officers here that the current campaign is too limited and too slow, Bob.
Lara, I want to go back to this idea of the international force to be inserted between these two forces. Do you see any sign of that? I mean, how would that work, and do people really think that's going to happen?
Well, initially, Israel was very lukewarm towards this idea because there's been a UN force there for more than 20 years. And as far as Israel's concerned, they've been completely ineffective. But what they are interested in is a far more aggressive force with a more robust mandate that's able to do much more about disarming Hezbollah, because that's seen as the real key to this problem, Bob.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Lara. Israel unleashed its military fury nearly 2 weeks ago because the Hezbollah fighters kidnapped 2 Israeli soldiers. But what was Hezbollah's reason for doing that? And who are the people who call themselves Hezbollah? That is the question that Richard Roth tries to answer tonight from Beirut. Richard?
Bob, when Israel's bombing paused for Secretary of State Rice's visit here today, that gave Hezbollah enough time to declare its outrage. Hezbollah claims Israel's persistent pounding of its stronghold in southern Beirut is only hurting civilians.
This residential area, as you see around me, no military targets, no military bases, just buildings that belong to ordinary people.
The fact is, Israeli strikes have also crushed underground hideouts and crippled communications equipment, conventional targets in conventional warfare. except Hezbollah's no conventional enemy. Hezbollah's headquarters, its offices, its apartment buildings, even its streets, are mostly just rubble now. But the infrastructure Hezbollah relies on isn't made of concrete and steel. The group's foundation is religious zeal and popular support. More than a militia, it's a movement, a surrogate government running clinics and schools and mosques, a part of the establishment with 14 seats in parliament. Its guerrilla army, glorified in propaganda videos, may total just 3,000 men armed with rockets supplied by Syria and Iran. But there's no shortage of fanatics in reserve.
They have tens of thousands of dedicated cadres that are willing to engage in martyrdom operations. This is a group which largely perfected the use of suicide bombings in the 1980s.
It claims credit for driving Israel out of Lebanon 6 years ago. The current fight started over Hezbollah's attempt to get back prisoners held in Israeli jails. And while Hezbollah says it would consider a ceasefire now, compromise and coexistence aren't in its vocabulary. This won't be resolved just by silencing the guns. Hezbollah's grand ambition is to liberate what it calls all Muslim lands. But it's convinced it's already winning here, simply by battling Israel every day and resisting calls to quit. Bob?
All right, Richard. Nearly 700,000 people in Lebanon have been forced from their homes in a small country of just 4 million people. That represents almost 20% of the population. So there are two problems of enormous proportions now, getting people out of the line of fire and getting humanitarian aid to those who need it. Nowhere has that been more difficult than in the southern Lebanese city of Tyre. Lee Cowan is there tonight.
It was the only ship to safety from southern Lebanon. Its expected passengers ferried there by lifeboat. And back on the dock, we watched desperation turn to panic. For these two sisters, that boat was their last chance.
All the taxis are destroyed in the street.
There's no way for you to get out.
No.
They didn't need a reminder of the danger, but the Israelis gave them one anyway. High overhead, 2 explosions, and leaflets filled the sky. The message fluttering down was as simple as it was cold. This is just the beginning, it said. This port city, just 12 miles from the Israeli border, has been pounded for days. A shell crashed through the roof of this apartment. It could have been a Hezbollah target, but this woman doubted it. Why did they hit your apartment? I have no idea, she said. We were just sitting having coffee.
Here in the south, there aren't a lot of infrastructure targets left to hit. This railway depot that supplies fuel to an electricity plant right over there was hit 3 days ago, and it's still burning.
The atmosphere here is as choking as the smoke. It's gotten so bad, anything that moves is a target, including ambulances. 2 were hit by Israeli airstrikes over the weekend. These Lebanese Red Cross workers told us they barely escaped, and the attack couldn't have been a mistake.
As you see our ambulances everywhere, in this ambulance you see Red Cross, Red Cross, Red Cross.
So far, there are few aid agencies willing to take the risk to come this close to the Israeli border. We found one group offloading supplies, but it was a meager offering at best.
It has to go fast. It has to go really, really fast, because in 1 week it will be worse.
Despite the fact Israel has said it wouldn't guarantee safe passage to the International Red Cross, they came anyway. The question now, though, is just how to distribute the aid in a shooting gallery full of need. Lee Cowan, CBS News, Tyre, Lebanon.
The war is helping to push American gas prices ever closer to a record high, but that is not the only driving force. We're going to tell you about the OPEC factor next.
Cutting down on your coffee these days? Not to worry. Introducing Simply Smooth, a new stomach-friendly coffee from Folgers. We specially select and roast beans to reduce certain irritants that can affect a sensitive stomach. But we haven't reduced the mountain-grown aroma and taste you love. So go ahead, have a second cup. However, about that donut, well, you're on your own. Simply Smooth from Folgers, the return of the second cup.
Que tu prennes une décision.
Pour réfléchir.
Pourrait me rendre président.
Ah! Garçon, qu'est-ce que ça veut dire?
I wonder where the clog went.
New Liquid Plumber Power Jet. Blast clogs away in 3 seconds. Ellen McCarthy can't afford her medication, so Merck sends it directly to her home, free. Call 1-800-50-MERC or visit merckhelps.com for a list of Merck medicines and eligibility requirements. Merck, where patients come first.
Dr. Robert Jarvik, inventor of the artificial heart.
The average heart beats 2 billion times. The heart is amazing, but high cholesterol can lead to heart disease. Lipitor can help. When diet and exercise aren't enough, adding Lipitor significantly lowers bad cholesterol.
39 to 60%.
If you have several common risk factors for heart disease, Lipitor is clinically proven to reduce your risk of heart attack. And more cardiologists surveyed said they'd prescribe Lipitor for their own families than any other cholesterol-lowering brand. Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. You need simple blood tests to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor if you are taking other medications or if you have any muscle pain or weakness. They may be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. Lipitor is one of many treatment options to consider with your doctor. It's your heart. Ask if Lipitor is right for you.
Visit Lipitor.com for a free trial.
Pop quiz. What midsize sedan has more space and power than Camry, has 6 standard airbags, gets up to 34 miles per gallon, and starts under $16,000? Is it A, the all-new Kia Optima, B, the brand-new Kia Optima, C, the shiny new Kia Optima, or D, all of the above? Correct! You picked the Kia Optima, and with the 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, there really is no other choice. Hurry in and get $1,000 cash back on the all-new Kia Optima. The best value on the road.
Stock market's off to a good start this week. A couple of mergers and some positive corporate earnings reports sent the Dow up 182 points today. But the war in the Middle East has also pushed the price of oil back above $75 a barrel. And the Energy Department says that gasoline nationwide is now averaging $3 a gallon for the first time since Hurricane Katrina. South Carolina has the lowest prices, Hawaii the highest. The war, growing demand, and a shortage of refineries are all getting blamed for the high price of gasoline, but an investigation by CBS News has turned up another one, a more sinister factor. Cheryl Atkinson now on the OPEC factor.
You might say the beginning of the end for low gas prices was in the late 90s, when gas briefly dropped under $1 a gallon. But while consumers celebrated, it was near panic at OPEC, the cartel of nations that exports about half the oil the rest of the world buys. Internal OPEC bulletins obtained by CBS News show how OPEC responded, reaching out to the rest of the world's oil producers to drive prices back up. A group of Florida residents claims that's illegal collusion. They're suing to stop what they call a price conspiracy.
The prices that we are facing at the gas pumps today are a direct result of the illegal activity to both fix the prices and limit the production.
OPEC oil minister Shakib Khalil says there's nothing illegal about it.
Basic premise is to stabilize the market. It's not really to fix the market. It's stability of the market.
To understand the allegations, it helps to know something about how OPEC works. Since 1960, OPEC has coordinated how much oil from member countries goes on the world market each day. Prices too low, OPEC cuts supply and brings them up. But that strategy was failing a few years ago because the rest of the oil world wasn't cooperating. OPEC would cut supplies only to find non-OPEC nations filling the gap, keeping prices down. By 2001, OPEC found its answer. Happily, there exists a concrete solution, a cartel bulletin reads, practical and effective OPEC, non-OPEC cooperation. It was right after the September 11 terror attacks and gas prices were slipping. OPEC invited competitors Russia, Norway, Mexico, Angola, and Oman to a special meeting. According to OPEC documents, together they agreed to cut the oil supply simultaneously by about 2 million barrels a day. Oil quickly jumped to as high as $28 a barrel. Gas shot up 38 cents a gallon and only got worse from there. And the price of gas went way up that year.
The price levels are not decided by OPEC. They're decided by the free market.
But privately, OPEC did credit its work with non-OPEC nations for the price spikes. Cooperation with new outside producers has moved into a new and higher plane, reads a 2002 memo. Who knows, perhaps some future Greek scholar may describe this as the golden age of petroleum. Let us hope so. Right now, it's non-OPEC nations being sued, and they haven't had time to respond. The plaintiffs may soon add OPEC to the case, saying OPEC's efforts to get the world's oil producers together costs you about $1 a gallon extra every time you fill up the tank. Bob?
All right, well, thank you, Cheryl. Coming up, the young veteran is home from war and happy in his work, but finding this job was harder than he ever dreamed. Where he got the help is next.
What are you doing?
Getting ready for my test.
A test? What subject?
Cholesterol.
Are you nervous?
Well, last time I didn't do so great.
You?
Yeah, but I'm getting extra help.
Cheerios is the only leading cold cereal proven to lower cholesterol.
Grandpa, I hope you score 100 on your test.
Well, I'm shooting for something like 190.
I feel these tingling sensations deep inside my legs.
It's a tightening feeling that keeps me from getting to sleep.
For me, it's creepy crawling. I feel like I have to get up and move just to get some relief.
My doctor said it's restless leg syndrome, or RLS. He prescribed Requip, the only RLS medication approved by the FDA. He said Requip would help relieve my RLS symptoms, even the uncontrollable leg movements that disturb my sleep. Requip helped me make peace with my legs.
Requip may cause you to fall asleep or feel very sleepy during normal activities such as driving, or to faint or feel dizzy when you stand up. Tell your doctor if you experience these problems, or if you drink alcohol or are taking medicines that make you drowsy. Side effects include nausea, drowsiness, vomiting, and dizziness. Most patients were not bothered enough to stop taking Requip. Ask your doctor if Requip can help put your RLS to rest.
The human body was designed to move. That's why Serenity developed a revolutionary fabric for their protective underwear that stretches in every direction to gently hug your body for a closer fit than the leading protective underwear. Serenity Discreet Activewear. You move, they move, you're protected. For a free sample, call 1-877-GET-TENA. Serenity from TENA.
Because Daddy never hugged me. Because Daddy never hugged me. Because Daddy never hugged me.
Because the more guys notice me, the more I love myself.
Because I make more money than you. Because I make paid for my shortcomings. Because I'm compensating for my shortcomings.
The Volkswagen Passat. Lowest ego emissions of any German-engineered sedan.
Right now, get 0% financing on all 2006 Volkswagen models, excluding Rabbit and TDI models.
President Bush swore in 3 new American citizens today at Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Washington. All 3 are foreign-born members of the U.S. Army, 2 from Mexico, 1 from the Dominican Republic. All were wounded in Iraq. The president saluted them for, as he put it, paying the cost of freedom so others could live free. Historically, when Americans have returned from wars, they've been welcomed by employers who figured veterans would be solid, reliable workers. But somehow that has changed. These days, more than 15% of young vets are out of work. That's double the rate for all 20 to 24-year-olds. And that's why a retired general has put together a group called Helmets to Hard Hats. It's about hard work, but it seems to be working. Here's Cynthia Bowers.
These days, Eric Hickerson works as a carpenter in San Diego, but it wasn't so long ago that he earned his living in a much different way. He joined the Marines in 1999 straight out of high school, made sergeant, and did 2 combat tours in Iraq. But none of that seemed to matter much when at 24 and newly married, he left the Corps only to spend months trying to land a decent job.
When I go for a job, they look at me as being trained to shoot a weapon. I was kind of left with my hands open and not knowing where to go.
Is that scary?
It was a little frustrating for sure. It definitely was a lot harder than I expected it to be.
How hard is it? Consider this. For veterans like Eric who leave the military when they're between 20 and 24, the unemployment rate runs more than twice the national average. What sort of handicaps do you think soldiers face when they come back?
All the other individuals that they went to high school with have been in their careers now for 4 years or have gone to college. We come back and we understand what it takes to get a job done, but we don't understand what it takes to get that job.
Senator Barack Obama's home state of Illinois has the highest rate of unemployed veterans in the country.
We are not putting our money where our mouth is. That we say we value our veterans, we believe in their service, but when push comes to shove, we're not following through, and I think that's got to change.
Retired Marine General Matthew Caulfield says that following through for soldiers is what his program, Helmets to Hard Hats, is all about.
The problem is they can't network. And how do you network from Iraq when you're trying to stay alive and keep your buddies alive? And what our program is all about is we do the networking.
Since 2003, his organization has referred 40,000 young vets to high-paying union construction jobs that carry benefits. Just last week, California became the 22nd state to promise returning soldiers first crack at those jobs.
Construction is wonderful because whatever you make lasts.
With help, Eric's now built a foundation, not just on the job, but for the rest of his life. Cynthia Bowers, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And the results are in the voting in our interactive series, Assignment America. Visitors to CBSNews.com have assigned Steve Hartman to take his father to America's biggest roller coaster park. They'll put the Hartman Hearts to the test at Cedar Point. Steve will report back on Friday's CBS Evening News. Still ahead on the CBS Evening News tonight, they don't look like regular soldiers, and they aren't. But they're headed into battle in Lebanon just as they did 20 years ago. Their story next.
Lincoln Mercury has some of America's hottest selling new models. And to celebrate, every 2006 Lincoln has the best values of the summer during the Lincoln Mercury Celebration Clearance. Like the award-winning Lincoln Zephyr. Now lease Zephyr with 0 first month payment, 0 down, and 0 cash due for only $364 a month. And just announced, extended powertrain coverage for 6 years or 70,000 miles on all 2006 Lincoln vehicles.
Maud, cows are out.
I found him.
I'll take it from here.
Things are easier to find when they're stuck together. New Gladware interlocking lids lock together so you always know where they are. For lids that are easy to find, get Glad.
When the Middle East erupted, CBS News was there.
As we were walking out of the shelter just now, we heard a rocket explode.
When attack followed attack, the CBS News team took you into the hot zone. When you need to know, you need the CBS Evening News with Bob Schieffer.
Choco Sticks. It's covered in chocolate. I wonder what's inside. It's Oreo! The inside tastes just like an Oreo! Choco Sticks, Choco Sticks.
What's inside your candy bar?
Choco Sticks.
Cholesterol. It can come from fettuccine Alfredo, but also from your grandpa Alfredo, from barbecue ribs, and from your Aunt Barbie. A healthy diet is important. When that's not enough, adding Vytorin can help. Cholesterol comes from 2 sources, food and family. Vytorin treats 2 sources. Only Vytorin helps block the absorption of cholesterol from food and reduces the cholesterol your body makes naturally based on family history. Vytorin was also proven in clinical studies to lower bad cholesterol more than Lipitor alone. Vytorin is not for everyone, including people with liver problems, women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Unexplained muscle pain or weakness could be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. Vytorin may interact with other medicines or certain foods, increasing your risk of getting this serious side effect. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. So eat right, stay active. But if that's not enough, ask your doctor about adding Vytorin. 2 sources of cholesterol. Treat them both with Vytorin.
I know what you're thinking. I'm so thinking. You're thinking plentiful. And there's wholesome grains, real beef, even carrots and peas. Love it so much you only think you're getting spoiled. So happy.
Healthful, flavorful, Beneful. Beneful brand by Purina.
Tomorrow, divorce. It can hit like a ton of bricks, then make you mad. Finally, the weight is lifted, but what to do now? How to recover from happily hitched to suddenly single on The Early Show.
Most soldiers in most wars are young men who fight and, if they're lucky, go home and fight no more. But many of the Israeli soldiers headed for Lebanon have been there before a long time ago. Sharon Alfonsi tonight found some of them near the border in northern Israel getting ready to go.
Take a look at these Israeli soldiers. Their hair isn't exactly regulation.
I feel good, I feel good.
They often call their commanding officers by their first names. Some struggle with their weight, and their helmets hide a few bald heads.
Yeah, it's certainly different from the days of basic training.
They are reservists, and this weekend, 2,000 of them were called to duty.
But I was called early in the morning, and by lunchtime we were here.
Yeah. Today, we met Richard. You're how old?
I'm 40, actually.
You're one of the guys who left more than just a sweetheart at home.
I left my 3 young children, and that's hard.
Now, he's headed into battle. 20 years ago, Richard was one of these baby-faced soldiers fighting in Lebanon. They faced gunfire, lost friends, and grew up together. Today, the old unit is again heading to the front lines together.
I wouldn't want to be going into a difficult situation with anybody other than these guys.
All Israeli men are required to serve 3 years in the military and stay in the reserves for another 25. So underneath the green uniforms, there's a colorful cross-section of Israel.
We have everything from taxi drivers and plumbers to lawyers and bankers.
And they're not immune to the realities of war. After all, the 2 soldiers kidnapped by Hezbollah, they were reservists. The enemy doesn't discriminate. Bullets don't care if you're just a part-time soldier.
And would you be able to sit at home and watch this from your living room?
Absolutely not.
Israeli defense officials say every single reservist called to duty answered the call, and thousands of others just volunteered to fight. They may not look the part,
Peace and love.
but they're all willing to play it. Sharon Alfonsi, CBS News, Bet and Zati.
And that's our report for tonight. I'm Bob Schieffer, CBS News in New York. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you here tomorrow, we hope. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, click on cbsnews.com. Brought to you in part by Walmart. Walmart and Sam's Club pharmacies accept all Medicare prescription drug plans. And at the Walmart price, you get a great value for your prescription dollars. See why more people are watching the CBS Evening News with Bob Schieffer. Experience CBS News.